Welcome. I'm joined by campaigner Sam Foyle, who tragically lost his best friend Simon in August 2020 in the Camel Estuary. Also, Lee Pooley, the head of coaching for British Canoeing, which is bidding to be the sports governing body, and Ross McLeod from the RNLI. Now, let's start with you, Lee. Since the meeting in March, and I know, over quite a long period of time, you've been doing a lot of work about SUP safety. Can you talk me through the latest developments, please?
So there's been huge amounts of work that's gone on in the last several months, and I'm really pleased to say that we've got a really close collaborative working relationship now with the RNLI. In terms of the work that they're doing around SUP in terms of its safety, we've just recently launched a Paddle Safer awareness course. This is a 2-hour course that we're encouraging anyone new or newish to paddling, especially a stand-up paddleboard, is to attend this 2-hour course. It's free. It's a free certification course, so they can attend, learn around equipment, the environment, some planning, and the all importance of rescues and also calling for help. And then on the 1st of July this year, we'll be launching our SUP Safer Award, which is very specific to stand-up paddleboard, where people can get safety advice and safety guidance through a course, a face-to-face course. There's lots of other stuff that we've been doing. We've been working, as I said, closely in partnership with the RNLI, and we've been contacting non-specialist retailers to use our safety messaging as part of our safety campaign through the summer. I'm really pleased to tell you that both Decathlon and Lidl are already using our safety advice, and what we'd hope to see is that some of the other non-specialist retailers start to use our safety messaging at the point of sale when they sell it to people that are buying stand-up paddleboards for the first time. So that's the type of work that we've been doing over the last several months.
Well, that's a fantastic number of initiatives, and we can delve a little bit deeper into some of those in a moment. I'd like to bring Ross in. From the RNLI's perspective, this is very timely. You're seeing an increasing number of rescues.
As the summer season approaches and we've got the good weather incoming now, we are seeing an increase in incidents across the board, across our RNLI Life Guided Beaches, but also through our volunteer lifeboat crew. In the last couple of years, we have seen a rapid increase in the number of incidents involving paddle sports. We at the RNLI would very much encourage people to use the water. It's a great way of enjoying yourself, getting out in the great outdoors, but we would urge people to think about what could go wrong and some of the safety measures that they're going to take in order to keep themselves safe, which is why it's really exciting to be working with Sam and Lee to improve paddle sports safety over the next couple of years, and really emphasising the importance of things like wearing appropriate flotation, making sure you've got an appropriate leash, and also making sure you're taking the right kind of means of calling for help. So if in the event of an emergency you do need the help of the RNLI, you can clearly make that 999 call to the Coast Guard and get help sent on its way.
Paddleboarding is very accessible, isn't it? It's easy to buy a board and get on it and get on the water. What kind of, are people surprised when they run into difficulty on a paddleboard?
Yeah, with the developments in paddleboarding the last couple of years, it has made it a really accessible sport, which is really encouraging, and lots of people are able to pick up paddleboards for really not a lot of money, which makes getting out on the water quite easy and a really good way of enjoying the coast or inland waters as well. But with that does come some risks. A lot of people may not be fully familiar with some of the risks associated with open water, such as at the coast, and one of the incidents that we see most of at the RNLI, particularly involving paddleboards, is the danger of offshore winds. So just simply when the wind is blowing from the beach out to sea, and when you're stood on a big inflatable board, they're very affected by the wind, and so you can find yourself paddling really nicely, really easily, but actually very quickly find yourself a few hundred meters out to shore, out to sea. And for those that then aren't experienced, this can be quite a difficult situation, can be quite frightening, and so it's really important that people understand some of the sea conditions that can catch them out, because if people then choose to try and jump into the water and swim back, this is when trouble can happen as well, because we know the sea around the UK is extremely cold still at this time of year, and although it does warm up a little bit towards the end of the summer, will impact people's ability to swim. So we really want to prepare people so they can make the most of getting out on the water, whatever paddle sport they're enjoying. So we'd encourage people to prepare well, understand what some of the risks are, and making sure they're prepared for their worst case scenario should it happen.
Well, Lee, can you tell me a little bit more about the awards, as you put them, or the courses? Why is it important for people to get a lesson? What exactly will they benefit from? Because as we've just heard from Ross, you can pick up a paddleboard, you can go straight out on the water. People don't necessarily think, well, I need to get a lesson before I do this. So what's the reason for these courses, and how will you encourage people to take part in them?
I think that's a really important question that, people can, stand-up paddleboard is very accessible, but as Ross really, clearly points out, is that people can get into difficulty. So the courses are all about raising awareness, raising people's awareness to the potential dangers that are actually there and present for stand-up paddleboarders. So offshore winds, for example, is part of the course is to look at the environment that you paddling within your capabilities, and if you get into difficulty, what can you do? There are some quite straightforward and not technical things that people can do to ensure that they can return back to the shore without jumping in and attempting to swim back. They can adopt the prone position, which is lying down on the board, and using their hands to actually propel themselves back. By wearing a buoyancy aid correctly, wearing the right leash, are all important pieces of advice which is covered on the course. Also, the carrying of a mobile phone inside a waterproof case is another example of the things that are explored during that course. So it's almost based around raising people's awareness and giving them the top tips so they can safely enjoy those waterways, both inland and coastal.
We've spoken to Andrew McConkney. He's giving out vouchers with new McConks boards to encourage people in that ilk to take a lesson. And where are we up to with the leash safety? What are we hoping these letters to retailers will achieve?
So we're continuing our campaign to ensure that we are providing clarity in our advice across lots of different platforms in terms of how people access it. So our Go Paddling site, our leaflets into retailers, etc. Give people the appropriate advice about what type of leash to wear in what particular environment, as well as the use of a buoyancy aid and carrying a mobile phone. So we are doing that particular work, and we're continuing with that all the time, looking to ensure that we provide clarity within our messaging. I think what we're wanting to do is we want to have clarity across all of the people's messaging as well. So there's other training providers out there and lots of people wanting to make a difference in terms of giving out the right safety information. But what I think is important is actually we gave the same type of information out and the clarity within our messaging. We've been really encouraged over the last several months about the retailers engaging with us, engaging with both ourselves and in partnership with the RNLI, to use our messaging to direct people to the Go Paddling website to pick up the appropriate advice, see a short video, get that message across. So we are working really nicely with retailers now, and what we hope to do is to increase that number of retailers that work with us to ensure that safety message is really clear for this coming summer season.
And obviously we brought the industry together on the 7th of March in Parliament. That was a huge success. We're a couple of months down the line and we're looking at another event, aren't we? Can you talk me through what you're hoping that will achieve, please?
So this event that's taking place on the 19th of July, this has been picked up and the RNLI are running with this particular event, and in partnership with British Canoeing. What we are keen to do is we're keen to get the manufacturers there, the retailers, and also training providers, that we can start to explore and start to agree particular ways that we will market and provide advice to those people buying stand-up paddleboards. And that can be from a manufacturer's point of view, from a very early stages of actually what they're manufacturing to what they're providing retailers, for the retailers to actually give the appropriate safety messaging, that staff assistants, shop assistants are giving the right information out, and also the non-specialist retailers are involved with actually providing the right safety messages. So it's a collective view to hopefully explore and agree particular ways forward, which some people would call an approved code of practice. We're also going to get training providers together to talk about the educational part of our programs and how we can collectively, hopefully, work together to provide the same messaging when people access those particular courses.
Well, Sam, another meeting on the 19th of July. It sounds incredibly exciting. Your initial thoughts, please.
Yeah, look, it's fantastic news that we're continuing with the momentum that we got after the parliamentary reception, which was a big success with all the manufacturers coming to that and looking to change, particularly the leashes, and hopefully a number more are now going to be selling these quick release waste leashes through the sale, but also the education element of it as well. And what was clear from the parliamentary reception was about, speaking with one voice. There's lots of safety campaigns going out from the different manufacturers and a number of different groups. And I think that bringing together from the RNLI and BC a number of these groups together again to talk about this and code of conduct, and particularly helping and leading it so that we can continue the development of particularly the mass market brands. I think that was really encouraging hearing from Lee about Decathlon and Lidl, but there's still a number of others to go on that, and they will follow the manufacturers and the niche groups that are leading that way. So I think that's great. But also I've been really encouraged that Alex Chalk, the MP, has been working closely with the sports minister, and they've got a really close watching brief on the industry and want to see the momentum continue here. So I know, Andrew, that we've been continuing discussions with them regularly about it, and their involvement with the RNLI and BC at this next event on the 19th of July is a real encouragement as well.
And can I add, from the RNLI's perspective, we're just really excited to be working on this project. As the charity that saves lives at sea, we're really keen to try and save everyone that gets into trouble. And with the emergence of paddle sports, paddleboarding particularly, we're seeing a rising amount of incidents. So we're really excited to be working in partnership across the industry to make improvements. Sure everyone can enjoy themselves when they step onto a paddleboard this summer. So if anyone is interested, please get in touch, and we'd welcome a bit more involvement for the event in July, but also further into the future.